All right, FitLifers, Drew Canole, FitLifeTV, remember, we're in this together. I have a very, very, very special guest on call today. You guys have been requesting him for months on end, wanting to hear what's happening with this individual. He created one of the largest movements of our time in regards to basically healing the world with health and the powers of juicing. Today, we have Joe Cross from Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. Joe, are you there?
I'm here, Drew. How are you, mate?
Fantastic.
Thanks for having me on the show. It's great to be here.
Thanks for opening up your time. I know you're in Australia right now.
Well, actually, right? I was in Australia. I'm now actually a bit closer. I'm in Los Angeles. So it's not that far away. It's the same ocean, Pacific, but I'm back in the US at least for the short term.
So you've been traveling all over the place after this movie.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm in a hotel room here. I actually live in hotel rooms these days, the way that it's going. But it's pretty much a very exciting world to be in right now for me, at least the world that I left behind pre the movie. But now I'm very fortunate. I get a chance to get out in front and meet so many wonderful people and talk about the powers of fruits and vegetables, the powers of juicing, and really what it takes, and the benefits of rebooting your life.
Joe, can I get you to move up just a little bit?
Sure.
There we go. Perfect. Yeah, so we're grateful to have you on, and a lot of people, I'm sure you've been getting your inbox flooded with people that have seen this movie and have had these life-changing transformations, and you underwent your own transformation in the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. So anybody that has not seen this movie and you're watching this interview right now, immediately after this, go to Netflix, go online, watch this movie. But just to recap and bring you presently to where we are today, Joe, tell us about your own transformation story.
Well, Drew, I was 40 years of age, and I woke up one morning with a 4 in front of my age title, and I got into what I call the house of mirrors. I had a really good hard look at myself, and what I saw looking back wasn't pretty. I was 310, 320 pounds. I was loaded up on prednisone. I was taking medication night and day for a debilitating autoimmune disease. And I was actually, when you really look at it from a physiological point of view, even though age-wise I was 40, I was really closer to 60. And I was, as you say the title, I was fat, sick, and nearly dead. And I kind of went, whoa, hold on. I'm a smart guy, and here I am at this point, So it was like, that's where I start at the beginning of the movie. And I just thought, I'm better than that. You're better than that, Joe. When I got in the mirror, I'd say, you're better than that. You can do something about this. And all the procrastinating, all the many times before I tried, I really decided that I was going to focus on solving the problem with Joe. And, after looking at this problem in many different angles and all the things I discounted, the thing that struck the most at me was the power of Mother Nature and fruit and vegetables and juicing. It didn't all happen at once, but over a period of a few months, it evolved into, what? I think this is what I really need to do, and it just felt right. And then the idea of putting a camera on me and shooting it sort of came a bit later. I thought, well, that's kind of like you need community to do these things, and my community can be looking down a lens. And boy, hey, if this works for me, and I can not only lose the weight, because that's kind of a nice byproduct, but what I was more interested in was getting my health back, getting my vitality back, getting back maybe 30 or 40 years that were going to be taken from me because of my own stupidity. Mm-hmm. So that's where I was focused. And so that's really how the journey came along. And then, of course, for those that have watched the movie, you can really see that in a very, very short period of time of just filling my body up with fruit and vegetable, in the beginning, fruit and vegetable juice, and then for 3 months after that, fruit and seeds, only consuming plant food, I was totally off all medication and lost 100 pounds and I haven't looked back. It's been terrific.
So was there ever a point in this transformation where you were like, you know what, I'm going to film this and millions of people are going to transform their lives because of what I'm doing?
No, never. I thought maybe like 10,000 people might watch it. I mean, I thought, to be perfectly honest, that the DVD might sit in like yoga studios or, you know, these sort of kooky places.
Kind of woo-woo. Yeah.
Weird people hang out, you know? I love yoga. No, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't have, and you've got to remember that we're talking 2006 when I first had the idea.
Yeah.
So YouTube was only 1 year old in 2006. So the model was still very much DVD. It wasn't streaming. It wasn't this digital world we're in now. So I got pretty lucky with the sense that, you know, I made the movie in 07, 08, 09, and 10. It took a few years to finally come to fruition. And I released it in 2011. And if you think about it, a lot changed in the world from 2006 to 2011.
Yeah. And that's huge. Not only did the technology change, but, you know, I think the world is definitely ready for this now more than ever. They're fed up with pharmaceuticals and all these other things that are going on. To demonstrate this, I mean, it takes a tremendous amount of money, for one, to build a documentary like this, and people and everything that you were doing. Was there ever a point in creating this where you were like, you know what, maybe this isn't worth it, where you felt like giving up?
Sure, that was day two of day two of beginning filming and day two of my reboot. I mean, I actually honestly thought that I had like lost my marbles. What am I doing? What am I doing committing all of this money? What am I doing going out and doing this? I feel like I'm dead or I'm going to die by day two, you know. I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never been in front of a camera before in my life. I had no idea what I was biting off. So, in all seriousness, at the very beginning, like day 2 and 3 and 4, I was like, I can't believe I've got 57 more days of this. So, at that point, for sure. Then, later on, when you have like 500 hours of footage, and you know you've got some good stuff, but you know you've got to go through it all. And re-watch yourself and re-hear yourself. And, you know, once it's done, it's done. You can't change it, right? And we couldn't go back because I'd late. So you can't go back and reshoot things. So you can only work with what you've got. So it was a huge challenge. I was very fortunate. I got some great people to come and work for me. And they were all fabulous, each and every one of them. And so that, you know, I'm a quick learner, and I learnt very quickly on the role, and so now I have nothing but admiration for those in the world of documentary filmmaking. It is tough work.
Was there anything left on the cutting room floor that you would have loved to see in the movie, or by chances?
So much, but you've got to. That's the hardest part, like leaving out some of that. I mean, if you have a look at our DVD and look at the special features, we have an hour and a half of special features. They're all the deleted scenes that we made that we thought were good enough to be in the film, but in the end didn't make it. So, you know, anyone who buys it has 3 hours. And then we did a director's commentary, which basically is Kurt Enker, my co-director, and myself, just chatting about all the things that happened that we couldn't put in the film along the way. So that's sort of... But now I'm very excited. I'm working on a new film, which is kind of cool. So we're not quite sure exactly what it's going to be. We've got some really interesting ideas of what we think we can do. And in the world of documentary, you don't really know until you've shot it. I can tell you one thing though, Drew. We're not going to shoot 500 hours this time. We'll probably shoot about 80 hours to make a 75-minute or 80-minute film. So. But this will be a lot. Now I know what I'm doing. We won't make the same mistake twice.
I absolutely love that. Do you have can you share with us any ideas that you have in regards to the next documentary? Is it going to be based around health or?
Oh, no. The film is definitely, like, what I want to do is, I want to try and answer a lot of the questions that I get asked a lot. Because I figure if I'm being asked questions still, then there's answers that need to be told, right? And I get asked the same questions over and over again. So I'd like to try and address those questions in this next film. I'd like to, look at the problems that we have, and, the solutions to our health are pretty simple. That is, eat more plant food, eat more fruit and vegetables. But what's not simple is putting that into action. So it's, I would like to see whether I can explore ways that make it easier, or why we struggle so much to do it. And I think those sorts of things. Now, that doesn't mean that that'll make the film, but there's some of the things that I've got in my mind right now that I'm working with and throwing around. When you shoot documentary world, you never know. I mean, maybe 3 months down the road, we'll have this amazing idea and we'll spend like 3 weeks on something, and it'll end up being most of the film. I mean, look at Phil. He was never planned. So you just don't know. But I think the idea of trying to shed more light, more information, to give the viewer, more inspiration as well, is important. And look, this will be different because I'm no longer going to be the subject in this film. I'm going to be kind of like the host. So we'll see the difference that makes, because I've never hosted a film or TV show, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, it sounds amazing, and I know everybody that's seen Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead and have been following you. You completed that documentary. You started this website. What is it? Reboot?
JoinTheReboot.com.
JoinTheReboot.com. And you built this robust system for basically helping people transform and all kinds of recipes. Is that moving the movement further from a technological standpoint as well?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm very big on the idea of community. The fact that we, for millions of years, we did things together as a team. And it's only a relatively new thing, all this eating alone stuff. I mean, it's kind of weird. So I want to take try and use modern day technology to sort of bring people closer together. And so the idea, and look, it's not easy to do, and it's expensive, but I feel that now I'm getting a really good feel for what people need. And so we're building a brand new technology platform, and hopefully by, call it May or June next year, that'll be up and running. And my vision is for people to be able to, essentially connect with people who want to reboot their life and just draw on the energy and the support of one another to really help them through. And also experts, and I call them experts because people that have done it 3 or 4 times, they actually become experts because they're really good at what they're doing, right? They've done it before, and help people through. So I want to tap into the knowledge and power that we have in the Reboot community to help others. So, and look, I think there's lots of more things that are very exciting that are coming down the road in this technology, full stop, that can help us.
Yeah.
My main goal, Drew, is to move the dial. And people are, what do you mean move the dial, Joe? I want to move the fruit and vegetable micronutrient energy dial. The average American's consuming 7% of their energy from plant food. 93% is coming from processed food and animal product. Now that's okay. I eat that stuff as well. So I'm not saying it's bad, but if you're only going to have like 7% of the micronutrient of your total energy is going to be 7% micronutrients, captured sunlight, then you're leaving yourself exposed where your cells are not getting the nutrients that they need. And so therefore, everyone's different, but I try to sort of keep my dial up at like 35, 40, and every quarter I do a reboot and I go to 100.
Yeah.
And so it's a personal thing. Some people are very happy at 20, and that's great. I mean, look, if 7's the average and we can move the whole of America to 14, the difference would be unbelievable. So it's not about telling people not to eat things. It's about inspiring people to eat more plant food. And that's the exciting thing about the job that I have. Every day I wake up trying to work out ideas and ways that we can inspire, educate, and entertain people to live a happier, longer, more, I guess a more fun and loving life.
So I have hundreds of questions for you, but for the purpose of this interview, I can't do that. Juicing is fundamental in what we teach at FitLifeTV, and so is mindset. And coming from a guy like you who's an entrepreneur, probably a quick start, very creative, action taker, implements to a T, what do you tell somebody that isn't like that on how to get started and actually encourage them down the path that you've been on?
So the very first thing that I do is I'd say watch the movie, because the movie gives people a real story, and two guys and a few others, two guys, a girl, and maybe half a dozen others, examples of what this can do. Now, people have got to be wanting to make a change in their life for this to work. You can't, the old saying, lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. So you can't bring your husband or your wife or your brother or your dad or whatever and say, hey, you got to do this. That won't work. So the first thing I say to people is, are you here on your own accord? Like, someone forced you to come? And if someone forced them to come, I say, well, listen, I can't help you. I mean, you must be tired of people putting you under duress, making you do things. No wonder you're eating or overeating, So the first step is that they've got to be prepared to get in the house of mirrors. They've got to be prepared to get in and have a good, hard look at themselves and be honest and answer back, So once someone is in that position, they're open and they're present in the sense of they're there with you to want to make a change. And that's half the battle. It's like the difference from knowing it to doing it. I talk about that in the movie. It's that action. So once they're there and they're ready to do that, I then sort of talk about the fact that you need to prepare yourself. You need to get your life in order so that the next 5, 10, 15, 20, no matter how long you want to do your reboot for, that you're ready and you're going to have no distractions. And you've got a support network. You've got either on the reboot community or friends and family that are going to support you and cheer you on. And you've got to write yourself a note saying the reasons why you're doing this so that when the going gets tough, you can get out and read that and put yourself back at the beginning. And you've also got to look at it from a perspective that it's only maybe 10 days or 20 days out of your life. I mean, it's not a lot of time. I mean, we can all remember 10 days ago. It was pretty quick 10 days ago. It goes quick. So we have to put it in that perspective. And then when you get going, people got to be prepared and accept that if your diet was pretty poor beforehand, then the first 2 or 3 days are going to be really tough. If your diet's really good, then you're going to breeze through because, you're not going to have the withdrawals of the sugar, fat, salt, caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, whatever it is that's your crutch, I should say, that's holding you. So, and then, like I did in the movie, you are then really on your own in the sense that, this, can you see my hand here? This is the last 2 feet of freedom that I talk about. There's not many things in America or in Australia or in the rest of the world that we can actually do where we don't get people telling us what to do. We get people suggesting ideas, but we don't get people telling us what to eat. We're pretty much, nothing stopping me getting in my car and driving to In-N-Out Burger and having 10 hamburgers if I want it. That's not against the law. I can do that. So I sort of like to get people to really think about the fact that what they're doing here is they're giving their body a break, a rest. They're really putting themselves out there in their own, it's their own doing, and therefore you've got to do it for yourself. And there's no point having Joe or anyone else around to tell you what to do. You just got to do it. And if you can get all of those things present and in the mindset, that's a pretty good recipe for success.
One of the questions that we get is, and I believe the gentleman's name was Phil, right? The truck driver?
Phil Staples.
Yeah, how's he doing?
He's going great. He's doing his Integrative Institute of Nutrition course. He's becoming a health coach.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's great.
I think that's one of the biggest things with transformation is once you help people transform, they go off and they help everyone else.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's about like paying it forward. It's like, I was just downstairs in the hotel I'm in here. I was just having some lunch, and you're going to ask me what I had for lunch. Right?
I was actually going to do that. Did you juice?
No, I had my juice for breakfast, and I went to the gym, and then at lunchtime I had the salad. I had was cucumber, tomato, and I think there was some asparagus and some corn. That was my salad for the appetizer, a very small little baby salad. And then I had some grilled whitefish.
Nice.
With some broccolini and spinach. And didn't have the dessert, didn't have the cookies that were there, and just had some club soda with some fresh lime juice. So that was my lunch today. And while I was down there, this very nice chap, Joe, I think his name was, and I've got his card here in my pocket, he gave it to me. Joe Peterson from Iowa. He came up to me and said, "G'day." He said, "Mate, I've got to tell you, I watched the movie, I bought a juicer, I lost 6 pounds, and now I've given my juicer to my best friend, and he's doing it, and I've got to get my juicer back from this guy." So, it's like very exciting the fact that he did it, and this is what's going on all over America, is that people are seeing other people, "Wow, you look good, what did you do?" "Oh, I'm doing this, and I feel great." And so that's what's exciting. This is all about leadership. It's about people, this is free. You don't pay me any money to do it. You just go out and do it. You got to buy a machine. Okay, some companies are making money out of that. Well, that's great, and there's many machines you can buy. I use a Breville because it's Australian. That's what I use in the movie, and I like it. But, if you've got another juicer, that's great. You don't have to do what I do, and it's fantastic. And people are out there, and they are, they're really inspiring one another. And that is super exciting because that's leadership and that's by example. And I believe that doing things by example will have a far better chance of success than doing things by dictatorship.
So true. What's your favorite juice recipe?
I have two.
All right.
I have a morning one and an afternoon one. My morning one is a pineapple, watermelon, and ginger juice. Great way to start the day. Just a great taste. It really hydrates you. And then the afternoon one, I've got to be honest with you, I love a mean green. I love my cucumber, celery, my green apples, my kale, and if I'm in Australia, I don't get kale so much because it's hard to get. I use Swiss chard, or we call it down there silver beet, and lemon. And I love that juice. It's one of my faves. And it's green, and leaves a nice green moustache here, which is even better. They're my two faves. And of course, I do also, when I'm not juicing only in a Reboot program, I will blend as well. So I'll take that mean green that I've made, and I'll put that in a blender with some ice, and I'll throw a banana or mango in, and I'll blend that up. So I've got like a mean green base, which is my liquid, and then my ice and my fruit to give me a bit of thickness, which is great as well.
So people always ask me, Joe, and you get this all the time on your site too, is, why juicing as opposed to blending? And you just talked about blending too, so I think it's appropriate to ask the juice master.
Sure. Well, there's a number of put it this way, there's benefits to both. I mean, I encourage people to do both, to be honest. Mm-hmm. It's not just all about juice. But when you're doing a reboot where you want to go a long period of time where you're just juicing only, now you can go a long period of time of blending only as well, but you might struggle more, believe it or not, while you're blending for a long period of time versus juicing. Because when you blend, you're putting the fibre into your stomach, and the fibre being present what you're really doing is doing a low-calorie diet, if that makes sense. And the fibre still needs to be broken down. And my theory is that you're still hungry. Now, when you put only juicing, it sort of like goes back to the old days when we were on the savannah during famine and fasting. And then when there's no fibre going in, that's kind of the trigger to say, hey, Joe, he's on a famine. Let's turn off the hunger switch. So when you juice only for 3 or 4 days, hunger will go away, it'll disappear. But I find if I'm blending only for 3 or 4 days, hunger sticks around. So it depends on what you are looking for. But there's no question that when you juice, it's more rapidly absorbed. There's no question that when you juice, you can actually get a more concentrated level of micronutrients because you can get more plant food into your glass than you can if you blend because you've got less fibre in there. Now, fiber's good. I love my fibre. Don't worry. At lunchtime, I had all my veggies and my salad had lots of fibre in it. I'm not suggesting to anybody to cut down on fibre. I'm actually suggesting on increasing the micronutrients in a liquid form, and that's best done by juicing.
And that's from what I've seen, you know, going to Sana Vive and these integrative health institutes like the Gerson Institute, that's one of the primary things they use in their healing mechanisms as well.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're not putting a lot of pressure on the body, do you? See, when you eat food, I mean, I read recently the other day that if you eat 400 calories of raw carrots, you'll use 100 calories of energy to digest 400 calories of raw carrots. A lot of carrots, right? So when you juice 400 calories of carrots, you're certainly not using 100 calories to digest that. You know, it's rapid absorption. So, you know, giving your body a break. I mean, I'm a big believer that we're not supposed to eat as much as we eat.
yeah.
I'm a big believer that we're supposed to go periods of time where we refrain from food. Look at all the religions. They've all got it. You know, all the old ones anyway. They've all got like some
fasts
form of fasting. So I think that, you know, just looking at things in a logical, holistic point of view, I think that it certainly does make sense to increase your fruit and vegetable intake, number one. It certainly makes sense to get those fruit and vegetables into your body any which way you can, juicing or blending. But if you want to go down to that next level of really like ramping it up, I think juicing can deliver on all of those things.
And I also think in regards to this, I know you have children, don't you, Joe?
No, I don't.
No children?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I have lots of kids that are in my life.
All right, so you're a father to many.
Well, if you can say that, yeah. Some of them are big kids.
Yeah, right?
They're 50, but go on, yeah.
A lot of parents make an excuse for their children. They're like, you know, my kid likes the snack food.
Yeah.
What do you have to say for the parents out there that haven't made the decision to give their kids what they really need to be healthy?
You know, I was asked this question on the weekend. I did a talk up in Fresno. And, you know, I think you've got to be harsh to be fair sometimes in life when it comes to kids. And I discipline kids in my life. I'm not totally arrogant or ignorant, I should say, to that. So I know how hard it can be. But here's what I think. I think that if the parents are eating pizza, very hard to get your kids to eat broccoli. So it starts at what's mum and dad eating, or what are the parents eating? What are the primary caregivers eating? Okay? Then it's like, okay, if the kids don't want to eat what we're eating, well, they're going to go hungry. Now, would they be the first kids in the history of human civilization to go to bed without a meal? Of course not. It's going to do them good. I tell you what, after 2 or 3 days, they'll start eating what you're eating, let me tell you. So it might sound harsh, but at the end of the day, I don't believe in, you know, most families don't run a restaurant in their own house where people can put their own a la carte order in what they're going to have. I think it's about what mum and dad want to put on the table. Let's get a healthy balance of plant food, animal product, and processed food. Because in the modern day world, it's very difficult to not live with those other two food groups. And for people to try and say, oh, you've got to be all plant-based and you're going to be 100% that, look, I admire those people enormously. But I'm trying to bring a message to the masses, and my message is very simple. 7% of what you eat coming from plant food, well, we know where that leads. That leads to a life of disease, of heart disease, of cancer, of diabetes, of Alzheimer's, of strokes, of all these diseases of nutritional ignorance. But if you can pump it up to 20-25%, well, you know what? That is, I mean, the doctors that I've spoken to, that is doctors in America would be doing cartwheels down the streets nude if all of America was at 25% of their micronutrient intake at that level. Because the disease, the health, the nation would be unbelievable. I mean, just imagine that. Americans eating 4 times the amount of fruit and vegetables they're eating now. I mean, just the effects would be dramatic. And it still leaves 75% of your calories to have your pizza, to enjoy your hot dog at the ball game. I mean, you know, you go to a ball game, it's all about having the hot dog. I understand that. I'm all for that. But I'm not all for having a hot dog every day. And I'm not all for having a bagel and cream cheese every day and having a burger every night, because I've been there, done that, and it ain't too good for you.
Such a simple message at the end of the day.
I think it is. And I think the more simpler it is, the better chance we've got of it working.
I absolutely love what you're doing, Joe. And I know everybody watching this video is a big fan. I'm a big fan of you.
Thanks, Drew.
You've inspired me to push the juicing bus along here and get more people on it. So
well, I appreciate it. Well, mate, it helps with everyone to spread the word, because the more people, I really believe, the more people that see my movie will then see other movies, will inspire others. And there's lots of good movies that are out there that, and you see, when you really think about it, if we can get people to crave this kind of content, then, you know, NBC, CBS, Fox, ABC, they'll start putting it on mainstream television, and then we can get to our 25% number, because that's what it's going to take. We have to demand it. We can't point the finger at the big guys. The people have to demand. And the more we demand, the more we'll get.
Well, keep on leading the pathway, my friend.
I'm doing my best, Drew.
We're in this together. Is there anywhere we can send them? JoinTheReboot.com, is that the best website right now?
Yeah. I think at JoinTheReboot.com, you'll be able to stream the movie for free. It's a pretty pared down site right now. I mean, I haven't got a lot of stuff, but you can learn the plans, get the recipes. It's all there. I'm doing a bit of a makeover of it right now. Finally, I've got some great people. I've just hired 6 or 7 people in the company to really help me now. I've just gone to this next level. So we're going to start getting a lot more content out there. We've got some exciting stuff that's coming with the new movie, and possibly some TV shows next year. It's all very, very exciting what's happening. So, you know, I think that it's early days for me in this space, because, you know, I'm learning and I'm no expert. I'm trying to get, as I learn, share it with people and do that. But if people go to jointhereboot.com, they'll find out what they need there. And you can also go to fatsickandnearlydead.com, and you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. And I'm doing my best to respond to every message, but it's very, very difficult. But I'm so far so good. But it's getting a little crazy right now, Drew, I've got to tell you.
And it's growing so fast. So
it is, and it's super, super exciting.
Yeah.
I was in Fresno on the weekend, and I had a farmer come up to me and say, you know what, Joe, I bought 10 of your copies of your DVD, and I lend them out to people because I know that when people watch it, they're going to buy more leafy greens off me. And his production's up, his sales are up, and he's just doing the movie like a library.
That's actually a really good idea.
That makes me happy, I've got to tell you.
That farmer's a good marketer, too.
He is. It's great.
So what I would like to do, and if you're cool with this, is I'd like to give away a juicer on this interview.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
Anybody that's watching this, let's have them leave a comment below this interview.
Yep.
You know, their major takeaway from you, or how they're going to implement what you taught here into their own life. And then you and I and your team will pick out the best comment. We'll give away the juicer.
Sure.
And then I would also personally like to give away 10 of your DVDs as well.
Happily. I'll donate the juicer and the DVD.
Okay, cool. So we'll do that, and then we'll pick the 10 best comments underneath the juicer. We'll give out the DVDs, and we'll start really inspire this country to move it even faster forward into health.
Sounds like a good plan, Drew.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Joe.
It's been great, mate. I've enjoyed it, and I want to send a big cheerio to everyone out there who's out there wanting to make a change in their life. They want to do a reboot. Then, you know, it's got to come from within. And if someone you care about, don't tell them to do something. Tell them, hey, you know what? Watch this movie. It was a fun movie. Don't sort of tell them too much. And that might just help them.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, mate. See you later. Bye.